Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Jason Gibson. I'm going to be taking you through a session about integrity, probably one of the most important things that we can ever talk about in our lives. So just to quickly explain what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about what is personal integrity. So what is integrity just in everyday life? Why do we lack integrity and what can we do about it? And also as well, if you have some questions, you can also ask those to us. If you want to get in contact with us, that's absolutely fine. The objectives of today is to make sure that you can define your own meaning of personal integrity. So what does integrity mean to you? Describe the lack of impact integrity has on society, or the impact that a lack of integrity has on society. And I want you to be able to explain why integrity is important in your day-to-day life. Like I said, my name is Jason Gibson. I am a senior professional services consultant at Turnitin. I've spent over 7 years in the software as a service industry, and I've spent over 6 years of that time at Turnitin, working in various different areas around the world. I've worked with our users very, very fortunately in Kazakhstan, which has been an absolutely incredible experience. I've been there a number of times, and the hospitality and kind nature that everyone has shown me every time that I've been there has been second to none. And I cannot wait until we're able to come and see you all again in person. I also work in various other regions like Scandinavia, Europe, the UK as well. And I am in Newcastle, which some of you may now know where that is, thanks to recent news. So how would you describe someone with integrity? Now, we're doing this as a recording, but what I want you to do right now is just write down some words or phrases and then think about how you would use those words to describe someone. So just write down some words that you could use to describe someone with integrity or someone without integrity. So you can pause this video, you can then come back and think about it and then restart it. Okay, so hopefully you've had the chance to write down some things that you think, relate to integrity. So the first thing you can see there, we've got this nice little word cloud. We've got things like honesty, pride, decency, being accountable, loyal, disciplined, having morals, and inspiring people. On the flip side, there are things like corruption. We also have fraud. We have, promises that could be false promises. So you have to think about integrity from both sides, not just the positive, but not just the negative as well. One of my favorite quotes about integrity is from C.S. Lewis, if you've all heard of that author before. So integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. And if you think about that, that makes you think about, those times when you could have easily done something, taken the easy way, but you didn't because you knew that it was wrong within you. As a person, you knew that this wasn't the right thing to do. So integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. It's doing the right thing even when it's difficult. So it's not just about doing it when it's easy. Now, we have to think about where integrity starts. So are we born with integrity? That's a really important question. A lot of people think we are, but in fact, we're actually not. Integrity is a learned behavior. It's something you learn in your life, something you learn at school, at university, and in your careers. The only difference is where you learn it is how you define it. Learning integrity in your life is personal integrity. Learning integrity in education is academic integrity. And then learning integrity within your work is professional integrity. So yes, we aren't born with integrity, but we can learn it. And we learn that from the people around us, from the environment that we're in, when we're at home. So we learn it from our parents, from our siblings, from our grandparents, or whoever it is that we're brought up with. So you learn integrity from those around you, okay? That's where you learn it. So you've got to think your role in this. What is your role in integrity? Well, if you have younger brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, if you're a parent or you want to be a parent in the future, you have to think about how your actions are seen. Now, as humans, we learn by copying. So you'll notice, I have a younger niece, she copies everything I do. So if I'm doing something, I make a joke, she'll tell the same jokes as me. If I make funny faces, she'll make funny faces. But also my body language. She'll mimic things that I say, that I do, how I do things. So you have to think about that when you realize those people are around you. So who are the role models that we rely on when it comes to integrity? How do we learn these things? But also, how do we think about these behaviors? Well, for a lot of people, it's your family. But for some people, it could be celebrities. It could be influencers. It could be sports personalities. And if we think about people with integrity and people without integrity, I'm sure you could come up with a million examples. Everyone knows about Lance Armstrong. We all know what happened there. Someone who didn't have integrity while they were racing, then obviously came out and explained what happened. But it's too late, the damage is already done. So you probably couldn't rely on someone like Lance Armstrong, but you have to think about all those other people in your life. You also have to think about what their benefit is from what they're telling you. So sometimes people aren't saying things with integrity. The most important thing is, though, why do we go against what we know is right? Because we're taught integrity through our lives. So why is it that we actually go against that? Well, the reason is that basically, sometimes you have this almost fight or flight response. It's how we survive as humans. And sometimes we take the easy route out. So that could be, I know that it's wrong to do this, but I'm going to get something that I want if I do this wrong thing. Or I know that it's wrong to do this, but it's much easier to do it this way. We have to make sure we go against that behavior. Do what is right, even when no one is watching. Now, I want you to think about this in our everyday lives. How could we think about integrity? Well, one of the things that obviously we know all around the world is there are counterfeit goods, fake goods. So if we think about what you would do in this situation, okay? So you could go and buy some fake Nike clothing, or maybe even Gucci or Louis Vuitton. So you could buy it, but it's fake. You know it's fake. It's cheaper than what you would normally pay. But young children are actually making it for pretty much nothing. They're working as almost slaves. And this does happen in the everyday world. You've got to also understand that it does help fund criminal enterprises, but it's cheap. However, the quality that they're producing is exactly the same as the real deal. The only difference is when you buy it, the price is higher, but the people who are making it get paid a fair wage. They've been making the right money. So you got to think about, what would you do in that situation? Would you take the easy route, which is you get something, it's free, potentially, could be stolen, or it could be very, very cheap. It's the exact same quality, but the people who are making it are not very nice people, and the people that are actually physically creating the products are not getting paid very much. What would you do? If we think about social media as well, there is a huge issue here as well where integrity comes into play. People can share things on social media for recognition. So for example, they could share a story, they could get a lot of followers for this story. You know that the information is not necessarily true, or you don't really know how reliable it is, but you share it anyway because you know people are going to click on it. It's going to get you likes, it's going to get you followers, which, hey, might mean that you get some free fashion items. Who knows? Or would you actually spend the time to write something yourself? It might not be seen by as many people, but you know that it's reliable and it's factual. You know with confidence that information is true. That's a big dilemma. Do you want the followers or do you want integrity? That's what we have to think about. So what are the consequences of a lack of integrity? What happens if we let those behaviors happen? What happens if we allow ourselves to let our integrity slip? Well, in your personal life, you could lose friends as they don't actually trust what you say anymore or what you do because they know that you lack integrity. That could have been because you shared a fake story. They know that you buy fake goods. They know that you cheated in, even potentially on one of their friends or in an exam. You might not be able to get into the school of your choice, not because they found out that you have a lack of integrity, but because you don't actually have the skills that you need. Because you try to cheat your way through the early stages, your skill set isn't what you need. But also as well, you might be found out. You could have been shown that you are somebody who is dishonest. Worse yet, your siblings or your children or your friends' children or friends, nieces, nephews, whatever it is, they learn your behavior and they start to think, hey, they do it, so it's okay. And then you realize what you've done. Or worse yet, you start to think that it's acceptable because you lack integrity. No one has really pulled you up on it. No one has said anything. So you start to think, hey, this is good. I can just lie. I can do whatever I want and I can get what I want. That's not what we want. You thinking it's acceptable is the worst thing that can happen in this situation. But what happens in the real world? What happens when people who lack integrity get out into the real world? One of the big things is that now people don't even want to be themselves. People want to hide behind filters. They want to edit the way they look. People don't realize that if everyone does this, people start to think that that's how people look. Now, you might not think it's lacking integrity, but it is, because you don't have the integrity to be you. The best thing that you can be every single day is you. There is nobody else that can be you better than you. You're the best person to do that. And if everyone was the same, it would be a very sad and boring place to be. We do not all want to be the same. We want to be exceptional. We want to be amazing people. If everyone studied the same subjects, if everyone watched the same TV, if everyone played the same sport, it would be boring. For those of you that play games, imagine if everyone played the same game and it wasn't a game you enjoyed. It'd be horrendous. So that impacts people's mental health because people start to think, hey, that's what everyone else looks like. So it hurts your self-esteem. One of the other big challenges is pollution. So there's a huge problem in the world with plastic, where people are getting plastic, single-use plastic bottles and so on. We're just starting to recycle these well. But the problem with recycling is that some people think, hey, it's okay if I throw this in the normal trash can because everyone else is recycling. That's a mentality that a lot of people have, not just for recycling, but for everything. It's okay that I don't do it, but everyone else does, so don't worry about it. That's not right. You have to play your part. Everyone has to play your part. You pick up the can, put it in the recycling. That means that that's one more person. If everyone else thinks that everyone else is recycling and that it's important that you do it too, the world changes. And if we come back to the issue of fashion, so counterfeit goods, what's actually happening is here, when people sell these counterfeit goods, there is a trail of just misery behind this, because you're actually, promoting modern slavery. You're potentially promoting terrorism, gangsters, criminals, because they're the people that are not just selling those, they're also potentially selling drugs, weapons, and everything else. So you're helping them fund all of that by buying counterfeit goods. So doing that is not good either. So it's really important to have integrity, to say no to things like that. Now, the way that we think about all of this, taking the easy route, doing the right thing, it's all to do with our mindset. And there's a really interesting piece of work done by someone called Carol Dweck called growth mindset. And basically growth mindset is all about how you tackle a situation. So, if something's difficult, what do? Do you go, I can't do this. This is too tough. Or you go, you know what, maybe I can try something else. Or, okay, this is enough. So let's think about growth mindset. How does that work? Well, if we think about it in an everyday situation, it could be a situation where you find a wallet and you give it back to someone. You can see this really cute image of this little girl where she has found someone's wallet and she's giving it back to them, because you haven't thought, hey, you know what? I found a wallet, I've made some money. What you've thought is, I found a wallet, someone could potentially not pay their bills now. Someone might need this to feed their children. I'm going to find that person, I'm going to hand it back to them because it's really important that they get it. Once again, if you're doing that in front of kids, they're going to learn that behavior. They're going to see that that's the right thing to do. When we think about growth mindset, it doesn't just happen with academia, with everything else. It also covers things like sport as well. Now, I'm not saying that everyone here is going to be a track star or the next CrossFit Games champion, but growth mindset is thinking, you know what, I have to train every day to be 1% better. What can I do to help improve my performance? Well, if I want to be a sprinter, that means that I need to make sure that I am recovering correctly. I need to make sure that I'm getting my start done right. Okay, I'm going to practice how I start the races. That is growth mindset, because they're thinking, how do I improve on what I've done? What's the next thing I can do? And they have to push themselves to the limit. It's not easy. Training every day, going home, eating the right food, getting the right treatment, reading the right books. It's a very difficult process, but it's the best way. Or we could think about studying. Studying is hard. No one ever said studying was easy. So this image here, you can see this lady's planted her face, she's fallen asleep in her books, because gaining knowledge is difficult. If everyone found it easy to gain knowledge, everyone would be the next Stephen Hawking or the next Elon Musk. It doesn't work that way. You have to apply yourself, and you have to take the time to gain that knowledge. So you know in your mind, if I read this information, if I take this information in, I am learning more. I am able to do more. That's growth mindset. The other side of things is a fixed mindset. So fixed mindset is the easy way sometimes. So you know that it's not a good idea to go out drinking with your friends. You know that it's not a good idea to take drugs, but everyone else is doing it. So I'm going to do it as well because it's easy. Peer pressure. All my friends are drinking. I don't want to, but everyone else is doing it. I know that I need to be at work tomorrow. I know that I've got to go and help my friend tomorrow. I've got to go and help my grandparents, but everyone else is drinking, so I'm going to do it. And then you wake up with a hangover. You've taken the easy way out. You know that it's wrong, but you've done it anyway. It's having that extra time in bed. It's being lazy. You know what? I'd rather just not do this, and I'm just going to let it slide. I'll do it later. You know, I'm too comfortable right now. I'm staying in my comfort zone. Everyone knows that the comfort zone is the worst place to stay. You want to try and get out of that to push yourself. That's the opposite. Or instead of studying, it's going, you know what? Yeah, I think this essay is good enough. I've done one draft. I'm done. It's Friday. See ya. That's not good. What you need to do is you need to do your work. You need to look at it. You need to think about how you can improve it. Now, the main thing I want you to all take away from this is that it is down to you. As you've seen, you can have a growth mindset. That's up to you. You have to train yourself to have that though. And we all do create our own story. So we all decide our own behaviors. We decide which option we take. Do we take the easy route or do we take the harder route, even though, you know, it may be more difficult, but it's going to help us more in the long run. You have to think about how that's going to impact you and your life and your decisions later on. How is that going to help me get to the next stage of my life? How do you surround yourself with the right people? How do you make sure that your circle of friends, your colleagues, are the people that you want to have around you? That's down to you. It's all up to you. Now, obviously, the mind is a very complex thing. It's very difficult to control, but we can. And we can obviously think about what decisions we have, what decisions we make, and how we can make sure we make the right one. Now, I want to thank you all for watching this. If you have any questions or you want to get in contact with us, you can. Please contact the team who are behind the project. You can also contact myself. My name is Jason. My email address is jgibson@turnitin.com. You can find that online. But if you do have any questions, please reach out, because questions show that you have a growth mindset. So if you want to know more, please do. We can always help you. And we're really excited to take part in the next webinar series. Hope you all enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon.